Pushkin.
Yo, there's so much to say. There's
Yeah,
so
you
much
gotta come over for dinner.
Man, please, man. I'm more than happy if you guys are ever in Long Beach, man.
Oh, you in the LB?
You can come through.
We right up here. We in the Hollywood Hills.
I'm
so
happy to come through anytime, man.
Yeah.
I have a lot of love. I have a lot of love for Pac. You know, I have a lot of love for your family.
Appreciate you.
A lot of love for the Black Panther struggle, for the struggle for Black liberation.
Absolutely.
So just the fact that, you know, these are all the things that you come from. I mean, it's just going through your book. I mean, I guess we could start at the end here.
Please buy a book, y'all.
Buy this book. No, I mean, it's really well written. It's beautifully written. And it weaves together a lot of histories. But just the closing graph, and when you think about this, when you say the closing graph, Thug in Peace, Tupac Amaru Shakur, Afeni Shakur, Mutulu Shakur, Joseph Uncle Joey Harding, Fulani Sunni Ali, Yaki Gaddafi, Quincy Jones, Lisa Left Eye Lopez, Clarence Henry, you know, Shock G, Big Syke, Stretch, Big D Evans, Nate Dogg, John Singleton, G Money, Young Noble, Layla, I'm not even naming everyone, Johnny Cochran, I mean, Geronimo Jajaga Pratt. I mean, there's so many lives that both you and your brother have been touched by, and it's just incredible, man. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's been a ride. You know, the younger part of our lives, we're busy trying to live it, and now in my latter years, you know, been thinking about the impact, and you know, we weren't perfect, but we made an impact.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like we impacted our communities positively. Yeah. So, being that we've lost so many, family and crew, you know, so I'm one of the few that could tell a story that's been around the longest.
How long had you been wanting to tell this story? I mean, did it take you getting to a certain point where you felt you could reflect and then get it down, or did you?
I started when I was locked up. I was locked up for doing something silly. I'm sitting there thinking about myself and thinking about my life, and I'm like, okay, this would be a productive thing to do, get started on, because I knew it was going to be necessary then.
Yeah. And
over the years, do a little bit, keep going, do a little bit. Then we got to the point where I needed help, and then me and Talia, you know, once we got together on it, and our agent, shout out to John, it was an experience. It was a lot of work. It was more work than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, thank God you have a great wife in Talia, because it seems like she really helps you keep. She really seems to know your history, man, and care, and deeply care, and knows it. You know,
she's highly educated. She's Ford Fellow. You know what I'm saying? NYU Masters, all that. I ain't got all that. I got a street PhD. You know what I'm saying? But all the academic work is you know, to her credit.
That's amazing.
And, you know, she has a degree in Africana studies and Latin history and studies, you know, which was necessary in my story because a lot of my family was connected to these international issues. You know, we were Pan-Africans, Pan-Africanism, you know. My father helped fight in revolutions in Africa, you know, so we thought it was necessary.
At what point in your life did it hit you, like what being the son of Mutulu, like that you were the son of Mutulu Shakur, and what that, the heaviness of that, what that entailed?
When I was like 14, and I saw the article in the New York Times, it said terrorist. I was like, whoa.
You tell a story in the book about coming to the top of the stairs one night because you heard your dad arguing with someone, and then you see a bag of rifles, and you're thinking,
yeah, and I hadn't seen them kind of rifles before. I was a shorty. I was like 7, 8, and I was like, yo, I hope one of them's for me. You got a bunch of them in there. I don't want them for me. You know. I was so, you know, but I knew it related to something intense and serious because he was arguing with my brother's mother, Moto, at the time. I was like, whoa. And I just never seen an M16 before. You know, I've been down south shooting Remington rifles and Daisy BB guns, but I hadn't seen that before. But it didn't register.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't register.
Yeah. But you see that New York Times article, and all of a sudden, you're putting the pieces together at that point.
And then I see Mopreme Shakur, mastermind of I was like, oh, whoa. So I was like, oh, boy, it's going down.
I mean, was the overwhelming sense at that point when you read that, like, fear? Fear for your family? Fear for?
Anxiety.
Okay.
Anxiety. I'm like, what did that mean? Where, you know, where are these rifles going to be shot at? You know, didn't know.
Yeah.
Didn't know. Then I'm with my mother and I see the FBI wanted poster in the post office. That, you know, you see that in movies, but that really happened to me. I was like, you know, FBI to most wanted. And I got sad because I didn't know. I knew that meant trouble, simply.
Yeah.
I know it meant trouble, and I didn't know when I would see him again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that bothered me. But, you know, people often confuse my father and Afeni's political assignments. Afeni was in the Black Panthers, the Harlem chapter of the Black Panthers. My father, Mopreme Shakur, was not a Black Panther.
Yeah.
He was in the Black Liberation Army and part of the provincial government of the Republic of New Africa.
Yeah.
But they supported each other.
Right.
You know, all these groups supported each other. The Weather Underground, all these different groups, anti-war, anti-poverty. These people were starting to work together. Even Malcolm and Martin were starting to connect.
Right.
You know.
Right. Right.
Before he was murdered.
There were a lot of radical groups, not just the Black Panthers at that time.
Right.
Working to thwart civil society.
Right.
Thwart the U.S. government.
The Irish IRA folks. I mean, you know, they were connected with the struggles of the world.
Yeah.
And that I respected. Yeah, because we ain't the only ones going through something.
Yeah.
And we need allies to fight these battles. And if you know, there's power in numbers, work together. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. A lot of people think that probably your childhood and Pac's childhood was just getting indoctrinated by theory, like all day, every day. What was? But I imagine reality's a little different. I imagine there was a balance. There was I'm sure there was, you know, moments where it wasn't just being taught about the struggles around the global struggle and the Black struggle and how the Black struggle relates to whatever. Like what was the balance at home? How much was it being taught, you know, those global conflicts, and then also how much of it was just normal family life?
Well, when I lived with Afeni and Mopreme, it seemed they were trying to open us up to the world as opposed to, you know, the sick America, you know, the different cultures. I mean, because we practice Kwanzaa. When I'm with them, we practice Kwanzaa, but don't get it twisted. I love me some Christmas, okay?
Yeah.
You know, and there was room for both. There was room for both. There was room for, and I'm glad I got both of those experiences because it makes you, you know, smarter.
Yeah,
I feel.
Yeah, it gives you a complete. It gives you a more complete picture of the world. But I'm wondering how was it perceived in the rest of the neighborhood? Because I'm sure also there were, you know, your entire neighborhood wasn't full of revolutionaries. So were people in the neighborhood kind of looking like, yo, your parents are a lot heavier, or was it like?
I grew up in Southside Jamaica, Queens. So, you know, Queens is Queens, New York, New Jersey. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of those movements, the 5%ers, the Moors, and, you know, a lot of island people up that way. Yeah. And they kind of understood, but in my neighborhood, it was thugged out. So when I came around with my little kufi and my dashiki, you know what I mean? I looked a little different, but I felt good. My little African medallion, you know. My father wore a lot of African jewelry with shells and beads and different color stones and leather and different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that could be cool too. Because Mutulu was the coolest.
Yeah.
You know, he was the coolest.
Yeah, you put in the book that even before, I mean, like long before he was ever, when he was just Gerald was his birth name.
Jarrell, yeah.
Jarrell, excuse me. He was always the coolest. You said he could always get away with the most and dress the flyest and even that, but in his own way.
Dude, in his in one of the FBI files, I think it's on his wanted poster. It says, "Know the frequent fine dining establishments." You know what I mean? He had a particular type of style. He liked food. He was a people person.
Yeah.
People, and he loved kids.
Yeah.
He loved kids, and he was a people person. And that's what, Republic of New Africa was doing. They were setting up camps, training our youth like white folks were training their youth.
Yeah.
That's where the rifles were going.
I know you and Pac shared a bunk bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I imagine, like, well, I have two little kids at home, and sometimes I roll up, I kind of go down the hallway, I hear them John at night when they're supposed to be asleep and stuff. What were the things you and Pac just connected over as kids? What was your guys' relationship?
Well, at that time, he was real little, so he wanted to, he was looking at me. He wanted to be like me, and I had the advantage of being with my mother in Queens and having Christmas. So, but when I would come back to Mutulu and the Fanies, I'll have new stuff, different stuff that he would like. And, he's soaking up the game. I had some Pumas. He wanted some Pumas. The Pumas was the shit. And, I had to try to guide him in the right direction. We love food, and we always fought together at our cousins up in the Bronx. Got the Lasanes, shout out to the Lasanes up in the Bronx, Leland Projects. My father would drop us off up there because there was a bunch of boy cousins. Let the boys go play with the boys. And they was always into something. My cousin Kenny, my cousin Billy, they wild, but they very lovable. Very lovable. And they would be always into some shit. And, the cousins fight with the cousins, So it was a bonding. It created a bonding thing. Oh, and we love karate. Karate, Bruce Lee was the man at the time, so everybody was Bruce Lee. Black, white, yellow. We all Bruce Lee. We all had our gis, our karate slippers. Yeah.
So that's the time you were on, was Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah. That's why I ended up breaking my arm. Mutulu too, because Mutulu was a brown belt in karate.
Yeah, and you guys were in karate, right? You guys were involved in the arts.
Yeah, he took us to Black Panther Karate School.
Yeah.
And we learned a little bit. We'd be standing there in our horse stand, and Sensei come kick us, trip us on our butt. Firm. And Pac did not like that very much, but that's how it was.
Was he always like a I don't know how to, I don't know if it's disrespectful, but like a hothead? Was he always did he always have a temper in that way?
He did have a temper, and he had a big mouth. He'll tell you himself he had a big mouth. And you would have to be smarter than his mouth. I mean, that's how I see it. You have to be able to control your own emotions and temper and try to connect with him, because he's very passionate. He's very genuine, and it was sort of reactive, but it was coming straight from his heart.
How would that come up with you guys, between you two, as kids when you were younger?
Fighting. Not only did we fight with our cousins, we karate fight. Play karate fight. Psh, 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 all that. That was a real thing. And, I was bigger than him. And sometimes I hit him too hard. And he get pissed off. Blew up all the big eyebrows. And when he was mad. And, it's like, dude. And he was 2-3 years old, so he wasn't really used to having a brother yet. And but we got tight.
It was a real big brother, little brother dynamic then.
Yeah. And then Mutulu would walk us to school hand in hand.
Wow.
Felt like Leave It to Beaver or some shit. But walking down the streets of Harlem, yeah, me on one side, Pac on the other, walking us to school.
Wow. And you mentioned the Lasanes. Like Pac, for a long time, grew up thinking that Billy was his father, right?
No, you talking about Billy Garland. I'm talking
Billy Garland, excuse me.
Gloria Cox, Aunt Glo. That's Afeni's sister.
Okay.
And I think she got 10 kids. There's we got a bunch of cousins.
Yeah. You guys' family is wild. Their family tree is wild.
Yeah. So, we were all in New York. And while we were growing up, doing the school thing, our parents were doing their thing, And until 81, until Nyack went down.
Do you want to lay out that story? I mean, for people who don't know, just kind of how, like, the importance of Nyack and all of this, and your father's story. And
okay, and in Nyack, New York, there was appropriation in progress at a shopping center in Nyack, New York, and in which a security guard and police officer were killed. And at that point, a lot of the comrades went on the run. Most of them got caught, and Mutulu stayed on the run. He was on the run for like 5 years. He was accused of being part of that. He was charged. He did his time for that, as well as the liberation of Assata Shakur. He was captured.
Getting her out of prison.
Correct. Yeah. In which she stayed free until her last days. And Mutulu ended up serving 37, close to 38 years. Mm-hmm. He paid for it. Mm-hmm. But, he was a true political prisoner, which this country doesn't say that we have, but his motives were clearly political in nature. Yeah.
Did your dad and Assata, did they ever was there ever a way for them to back channel and over the course of time? And
it was just too dangerous.
Yeah.
I think he was getting some messages from someone, I just don't know who, but they weren't frequent. It was just on a check-in type thing. Even though she wasn't captured, she was free in Cuba, and she would make her own moves, and but they stayed. They did as much as they could. It was that's why I keep talking about the level of commitment in those days. Times were different, but the social impact they were having was way more intense. The anti-war folks were blowing up buildings in the U.S. There was appropriations, there was jailbreaks, because things are unfair. Pressure bust pipes.
Yeah,
pressure bust pipes, and kind of like the politics of the Republic of New Africa. Okay, you don't like us. You don't like us. You don't like us. Okay. Well, we can solve this peacefully by you people giving us these particular states to be run by us, our people, since you don't like us.
Yeah.
We can't let you, so we just supposed to let you just kill us all up and, abuse us. So we're going to have these states, and we're going to build our own nation. Because we have not been paid back reparations.
All right.
Which, is conveniently forgotten over how many years. So that's kind of their thinking.
Yeah.
And if you don't give it to us, we will have to make other arrangements.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out how to get that done ourselves.
Yeah. We not just going to accept no. Yeah. Okay. They just weren't accepting no.
And accept the conditions of our...
Exactly.
current.
Exactly. The difference to me is, late 60s, early to mid 70s, there was assassinations.
Yeah.
Here in the U.S., there were assassinations from Malcolm, Martin, Medgar, Kennedy, and plus Fred Hampton. We can go on.
Yeah.
You know.
Bobby Hutton.
Yes, correct. The level of commitment was way more serious.
Yeah. When you were young, at any point did you think that was going to be your life? That you would take up that mantle and be a revolutionary as well, in the same way that your father was?
Yeah, because we looked up to our uncles.
Yeah.
Baba Bilal, Baba Sekou, Geronimo. We looked up to them, but a lot of bad things started happening to them and other uncles.
Yeah.
That were either, where's Uncle So-so? Oh, he's locked up now, and once they go to jail, that broke a lot of connections.
Yeah.
Jail or murdered. Jail or murdered. Jail or murdered systematically because of COINTELPRO.
Yeah. And you even believe perhaps that COINTELPRO is operating on some level, maybe under another name, some version of COINTELPRO in the background of Pac's career.
Correct. Under a different name.
Yeah.
Under a different name, same tactics.
Yeah.
Why? Because they worked. They worked. The significant thing I think about our story is that we were like the last major significant story of the Panthers of the era. After us, the liberation of Asada, after that period, that liberation movement was
died.
Yep.
Or was fractured to the point of just not being as powerful or potent as it was.
Yeah.
But wild to think then that you joined the military of all things. Wild to think
You know why?
you joined the military and that they didn't know who you were, that they let you.
Exactly. And after my father got captured, I was definitely going to talk to him about it. But he knows, like I knew, growing up, he would always call me, "This is my little soldier. This is my little soldier. My little soldier." That's all as a shorty.
Yeah.
It's my little soldier. And so when he went down, it's like, damn, I really don't know how to be a soldier yet. So I went to learn how to be a soldier.
Yeah.
No politics attached.
Yeah.
But there's invaluable education in the military. Yeah. I learned how to shoot. I know about explosives. I know some shit.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. When I went to visit him for the first time, I told him, he was like, "Yeah, that's good. That's good. You're going to learn some things." And then he told me about Uncle Geronimo was in the Army. A lot of the brothers was in the military.
I didn't know Geronimo Pratt was in the military.
Because the Black Liberation Army was the armed wing of the Black Panthers. So they supported the Panthers, armed.
Yeah.
And other groups, because the times were changing. They were adjusting their tactics to match what was going on.
Yeah.
They would have loved to have been peaceful, but if they make it untenable, what you supposed to do? Just lay down and just die? Nah, man. That's why they call it the struggle. It's a struggle.
One of the other wild things about your story, and I always forget, is that you and Pac, obviously it's a blended family, so you guys end up apart for a while, but just somehow through fate, you guys wind up in the Bay Area at the same time. He's younger, so he's around 17, 18, but you, having just gotten out of the military, find your way to the Bay and to Oakland. Pac's in Marin, and all of a sudden y'all are able to reunite.
And it's even wilder than that, because Mutulu was captured in L.A., extradited back to New York, sentenced, and then sent back to L.A.
Right.
California. So we were all on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And we were all on the West Coast. And like I said, it was a bit of relief that he was captured, because there was talk of him not going alive. He wasn't going to let him take him alive.
Yeah.
And so we were concerned that he would be killed. And but when he was captured, everybody could breathe a little bit. He's alive.
Yeah.
The families could reconnect.
Yeah.
because COINTELPRO, they were all on top of everybody trying to find Asada, one, then trying to find him, two, and then when he's captured, they still trying to find Asada.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was gully.
But you and Pac really able to reunite because you're in the Bay Area, and your sister Set as well.
And Pac, Faye, and Set moved there because of Geronimo's family.
Right.
Geronimo's family was still there.
And Geronimo was in prison at that time already, but his wife and kids, or his woman and his kid. So, and then that's who Pac goes to live with for a time.
That's where they started. Yeah,
that's where they started, and then Afeni moved out.
And then they got their own spot in the Bay, but they didn't have much. They were broke.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then we were blessed enough to make it in the game.
Yeah. Well, I know you were kind of shocked by like the way that they were living at that time when you reconnected. That just it wasn't quite as it was a little less than you'd imagined or hoped, or I'd imagine, right, for your family.
Yeah, when you little, you don't always recognize poverty as much. But I was older, so I knew what poverty really was at this point, and what was going on. And it's not hard to maintain a 9-to-5 when you got the feds on you, all up in your business, trying to bring you down. And all your support system of people that would support you, they're on them too.
Yeah.
So that's why, I felt I needed to write this story, my story. I don't have the only story, but I feel like my story is quite significant because of, my relationships.
Yeah.
And for history's sake, for their history's sake, their history should be remembered, should be studied, should be appreciated. And there's that history, and then there's Black music history.
Yeah.
I was first to on a hit record in our family. I mean, my grandmother used to make gospel records.
Yeah.
But it won't no feels good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have 8 bars on Tony's Feels Good.
Yes, sir.
Phenomenal.
Classic to this day.
Huge.
God is good.
Huge.
And then Pac came out.
But hold up. But how did it happen that you wound up? You're in the military. You moved to Oakland. How did you wind up on Tony on a Tony record?
Because I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens, New York, and I'm from the mecca of hip hop, and I grew up with hip hop. Me and Pac grew up with it.
Yeah.
All around it. Especially he was in Harlem, and we were both up in the Bronx together, and I was in Queens. Run DMC, LL and Rakim. That's my era right there. Highly influenced me. So when I got out the Army, got out with a little paper, I put myself in the studio, and through that process, a brother named Kenya Baker, his brother is in Toni, but he was producing a demo for me. And they came and heard my demo and then asked me, did I want to be on the song? Raphael's asked me, asked Eric to ask me, did I want to be on the song? I'm like, yeah. Then I heard it. I was like, oh, this may be the magic. Those drums are infectious on that song. I love that song.
I want to hold up. Where's my phone? I want to play. I want to play a second of that. I want to play your verse, your 8 bars on that.
Oh,
great. Hold up.
Yeah, man. Gonna play the classics. You want to move the table back so you can dance?
Let's do it.
Yeah, that was a blessing, because that record, when we connected, the record was recorded, but it wasn't out yet. So I got to, give them the good news, and everybody was happy for me. Is that for real? Because everybody knew Toni. Toni had already had Little Walter. Hey, Little Walter. I don't know if you remember that
the
record.
First album.
Yeah. And that was a hit. And then, yeah, man, God is good. It was a charmed time in our lives. You know.
Listen. Still sounds great.
Ooh, yeah. Songs were like 4 5 minutes back then, so I'm near the end, but yeah, it was a big deal.
Oh, it's gonna come in. Hold up.
Boom, boom. Who? Most ladies, the mellow, quite a nice fellow. Met BT, get a rhyme acapella. They had the rhythm and I had the rhyme. So then I hit that one more time. It worked out and then they worked it in. Tony has done it again.
Man, you kidding me?
You know the classics, baby. Can you reach me? There you go.
Come on, man. Ridiculous.
Yeah. And I love it because it's a feel-good song. If the name of it is Feels Good, and it's a feel-good song, and it doesn't have a whole bunch of luggage attached.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I wasn't properly compensated, but it is a blessing all the same.
Yeah.
It's a blessing all the same.
Yeah.
You know, I still love them dudes, man. Rest in peace, Dwayne Wiggins.
Yeah.
Who passed away like last year.
A year ago or something.
Yeah. But Raphael, shout out to Raphael. I think he was just nominated for an Oscar for Sinners.
For Sinners, yeah.
Yeah, man. So we had some talent.
Yeah,
we had a little talent.
Man, but hold on. The funny part about that, and I didn't know this, is when they ask you to do it, they're like, yeah, why don't you write something and we'll see what it turns out to be. We're also talking to MC Hammer to see if he'll do something.
Yeah.
So you were kind of like,
the consolation prize.
Not a consolation prize, but it was kind of like, all right, let's see. So then I was like, man, I wonder. I was like, this must have been a smart move, because at the end you go, Tony has done it again. I'm like, okay, you must have name checked that.
I was thinking ahead.
Let's you're gonna pick me because I'm gonna shout y'all out on it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put your name on the song.
Yeah. I wrote, dude. They were making commercials off of my tagline. Yeah. Tony has done it again. I'm like, yo, but yeah, man. They were going to have MC Hammer do it for real, but MC Hammer was hot at the time. He was quite pricey. Yeah. So it was more economical.
Yeah.
To fuck with this little New York dude, see what he got, you know.
New York dude was in the town at that time, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I didn't know nobody, you know, but I knew music. I knew I could do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just needed a shot.
Yeah. I mean, that's even before Digital Underground, Pacs, and, you know, so you have the first hit.
Yes. I am part of the story.
You have the first hit.
I am part of the story. And then when but Pac was inspired.
Yeah.
Now, that was my first record, first in the family, but Pac had already been on this Apollo stage. Pac had already did Raising the Sun,
right.
at the Apollo age 13.
Right.
So we were honing our entertainment chops, you know, and then when Pac got to Baltimore, he went to School of the Arts.
Yeah.
And so he was ready. Shock was keen enough to recognize that, because Shock, rest in peace, Shock G, he was a trained musician. He went to school in Tampa, music school.
Yeah.
So he got it, Pac got it. We all try to be serious artists, you know?
Yeah.
And doing it in the Bay, shout out to the Bay Area, was a blessing, because it was so creative. Groups, musicians everywhere. You know, legendary managers, legendary artists, legendary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too Short was out there, Richie Rich, a young E40, 40 Water. You know what I'm saying? And it was just good energy, a lot of creative juices flowing.
Yeah, man. Did you, when you reconnected with Pac, could you sense that he was coming into his own, that he was?
Yes. So Pac knew what was going on with me, and the logical, organic thing was us to do some music together.
Yeah.
We got together, let's do some music, you know. And we sat down. We sat down to write a song. I still remember the name of the song. It was called Rolling Out of Forsyth County. Forsyth County, there was a Klan rally that year in Forsyth County, we seen it on the news. Nigga, we should go out there, Cadillacs, Benzes, and false on them. Fuck them. And can I curse? I ain't asked.
Go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
Go.
sorry. Yeah.
Go.
And so we sat down and started writing, trying to work out my list. Like shit. And then next thing I know, all right, let's go. What you got? I'm like, what? I'm like, you finished already? Yup. Pac was a beast. His pen was wicked. He was an excellent writer. And because he would write poetry too. I didn't write poetry. I just wrote rhymes, songs. He would write poetry. And I was like, whoa, that's when I knew. Oh, the kid's really got it.
Damn.
And then Shot gave him a shot. The rest is history.
And then you're with him for most of the ride, man. Like you guys are, I mean, you really saw the evolution of his career.
Yeah, I helped him get there. And I mean, because I was at the beginning, I inspired him, no exaggeration. But when he learned his big brother gonna be on the record with Toni, that meant something.
Yeah.
That meant something to a 18-year-old living in the Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're both at Summer Jam at the same time. You with Toni. Him with Shock, with Digital Underground, with Shock and them, Money B.
Yeah, because it was 88, 89, 90, 91, them 3-4 years, we were at the Summer Jam every year. Yeah. Somebody was out with a record that meant they would be on the Summer Jam.
Right.
Either Shock or the Tonys or, always some of our people.
Yeah.
Rich, it was always a reason for us to be there. So Talia helped me work out my memory because I was remembering one Summer Jam was really the other Summer Jam. It was just like kind of a blur, but it's like a Picasso dream.
Well, it's crazy too that like Pac gets the Juice role before. It's really hard. I mean, even having I lived it, just to look back on it and knowing all the stuff as well as I know it, but just it is hard to process that he got the Juice role before he even had the record deal outside of Digital Underground. You know what I mean? His own solo record deal.
Yeah, because Pac got into digital. Digital was hot. Do What You Like and Humpty Dance.
Yeah, huge.
That's when Pac got with digital. So because they were so hot, they had a lot going on. Even
wound up in that Dan Aykroyd movie. Actually, now that I think about it,
Nothing But Trouble.
Nothing But Trouble.
Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah.
Pac gets a little quick cameo in that.
Yeah.
But when the role came up for Juice, Shock wanted Money B to do it first. And then Mun was like, nah, Pac need to do this. It was more of a Pac type role. And they's like, yeah, Pac should rock this. And because they knew he was also trained.
Yeah.
In acting.
Yeah.
As opposed to them guys.
From Baltimore and Marin. Both schools, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. His first rap group was up in Marin. Ray Love, DJ Diz, Strictly Dope. Always shout out Strictly Dope, Pac's first rap group. And he blew away the audition. From what I heard. And then the rest was history.
Wow.
And then we had to say like, oh shit, this nigga's a movie star. We ain't got no record deal. And so we dug in trying to get that done.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work, but we was trying to get all the money.
what was it like with Interscope? Did it over the course of things, like how were you ever around like Jimmy or
I was around Tom Wally more than Jimmy.
Okay.
I would have to deliver the music to Interscope. Pac would be in the studio, like run this to the label, and play this and this for Tom. Play this, I would have to play selects for Tom, looking for the singles and things like that. Had a lot of jobs, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Had a lot of jobs, but we made it. Yeah. Hook or crook, and Pac had a lot of energy, and he needed someone who could keep up.
Yeah,
and that he trusted, and he knew I was already. By me having Feels Good, it gave me. I was comfortable. I was cool with that. Yeah. I was cool with that. I want my brother to be dab a hit now.
Yeah.
You know, and that just kept going.
Yeah.
He kept having it, you know.
That run didn't stop.
Yeah,
until it
man.
stopped.
We had a good 5-6 year run.
Yeah. Even when it stopped, even when he's gone, it still keeps going. You know, it just don't
Pac
stop.
is the greatest of all times.
Yeah.
On this rap shit, for sure.
You know what the greatest thing about his story is, and your story and all that, is just when you're reading through the book, so much of the narrative about any rapper now is about money, you know? And when you're reading this book, your book, and you're really thinking about Pac's legacy and you're just kind of reliving it, it's like, he probably never got the money he should have gotten. But regardless, it's an inspiring story, man. Like his life, you guys lived an inspired life around the arts, around uplifting blacks, uplifting people of all cultures, really, through your example, right? And it's just like, it's a success story that doesn't center around money. And that's fascinating to me, because that's all we talk about now when we talk about success. I think
kind of what set Pac apart was that he often wrote about social issues.
Yeah.
More than other artists. He wrote about social issues, and he was passionate, genuine, and intense.
Yeah.
So those songs about those social issues resonated.
Yeah.
Brenda's Got a Baby, Keep Your Head Up. You know, those songs got through. So because they were coming from a real place, a genuine place.
Yeah.
You know, we come from community, family of community organizers.
Yeah.
You know, healers. You know, my father was also an acupuncture doctor.
Yeah.
You know, he did all that shit before 35. You know,
I think that's what makes Pac's music, more than any other rapper's music, like just perennially relevant. As long as he made those records, they're never out of style.
Pac is relevant right now.
Right now.
Got money for war, but can't feed the poor.
I see that everywhere right now.
It's unfortunately, it's still relevant.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's part of that, being aware of the world around us. You know, it's a big world out there, and we ain't the only ones going through it.
Yeah. What for you as his brother? Like, what is it like? 'Cause I feel like every year there's a new, like, there's always like some like interview where someone's got Pac figured out. Okay, oh, he was an actor. Okay, he was a thug. Okay, he was pretending. Okay, he was a what's it like? See, I mean, every year is a new story about why Pac was the way Pac was, and this is really who he was.
You know what Pac was? Pac was legend. Pac was legend. The moves he made, the impact he had, the love he got, the passion he displayed. He was one of a kind. You know, he's one of a kind. And it still resonates. Pac was the Black James Dean.
Yeah.
You know, he's the Bob Marley. He's that guy. Pac was that guy. You know, I don't know how else to explain it, but his charisma. He had charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Missed that dude, but he did it his way.
Do you feel like Interscope knew what they had with him?
Not until they got a hit record. I mean, they knew he was a movie star,
right?
So he was worth investing in, and it might have paid off, and it did.
Right.
It did. But he was a movie star, and he was plugged with one of the hottest groups in the game, Digital.
Right.
So there was a lot of fodder for success.
Yeah.
You know, and we were hungry. Prior to us coming up, Pac was poor. You know, they were broke. You know,
yeah.
Pac even tried dabbling in dope. You know, selling drugs, but all the drug dealers was like, man, you don't need to be doing this. This is not for you. Yeah. You know, and only dudes who got love for you would you know,
say that,
pull you out and put you in a different direction.
Yeah.
Shout out to Man, Mike Cooley. You know, partners from Richmond.
Yeah.
They helped get him in the studio in the early days.
Yeah.
You know, and then when he got with Shock, Shock would assign different producers to work with Pac.
Yeah.
Big D, The Impossible, who did Changes. Shout out to Big D, rest in peace to Big D. Johnny Chopmaster J. You know, they did a lot of the early demos. And then Pac had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
So he would end up working with everybody, and we would end up kicking it with everybody. He was that dude. Everybody wanted him at their party. Everybody wanted him on their song.
Yeah.
So we, and I just try to support him. We just try to support him. Let's get it. I was in the military, as you know, and they got a saying that we all brothers in the foxhole. We all brothers in the foxhole, no matter what color you are, what gender you are. We in that foxhole together. We down for the struggle together. We riding together.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what it was. Wow. The digital family, like we got Pac. Yeah. You know what I mean? We got him.
There's an incredible story about you guys coming back to the Bay Area and going to a fair in Marin, the county fair in Marin. Mm-hmm. Can you tell that story?
Yeah, Pac had was really he was blowing up. His success, he had already done Juice. I think he had 2Pac's Now out. He had, success with that. So he was doing good, and he wanted to get back to his community where he came from, over there in Marin. And we went back for the fair, and these dudes started a fight. And, we came with our cousins, the Lasanes, Outlaw, Edie when he was younger. They were all young. And some other kids from the neighborhood in Richmond. We went to the fair. We had no ill or malintent. Yeah. And dudes just walked up to about, "What you say there about Marin City?" Bow! Sock Pac up. Just hit him in the face, and it was on. And then we knew we were outnumbered and tried to get up out of there. And, we got up out of there, thank God, but a child was killed. They were shooting. We was, it was going down. They were shooting, and it's unfortunate.
The aftermath of that, like, what do you guys even talk about? What's the vibe after that?
It was, the worst day of our lives. None of us want anything like that to happen.
Yeah.
But we realized out here in this world, in this game, with this much attention, these things could happen. And we didn't have no security, really. It was just us.
Yeah.
Pac was just starting out. We couldn't actually afford it.
Yeah.
And he really needed extra. And, that's kind of, got to look at the label and all that as far as that goes. But he was a movie star as well as a successful rapper now. Yeah. So his popularity was high, and all we had was us. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we was out there with our cousins, with our kids, and Castro had a cast on his leg at the time, to his hip. One of them long casts.
Yeah.
And so, dudes are shooting at us. We trying to run, and it was just bad. It was a bad day.
The cops even got involved. I mean, you got a gun.
Yeah.
Put right to your head by a cop.
Yeah, sheriff put a pistol to my head, and the crowd was attacking us. And it was me and Pac in the front. We were trying to wait for everybody to get in the truck so we could get out of there. And we were waiting. At the same time, the sheriff had a pistol to my head, but the crowd is still coming. They throwing rocks. They mad. They're angry. You know what I mean? And because they think Pac dissed Marin. They busted out the window, started busting all the windows, but then they started pulling on the doors. They started pulling on the doors. It was going to yank. I think it was Edie on that side. It was about to yank him out, and it was going to get even worse. So I evaded. There was a lot going on, so I think the sheriff got distracted, popped it in reverse. I got us up out of there.
Yeah.
I got us up out of there. Also, as the older brother, I felt responsible for taking care of everybody to a certain degree.
And you really did play that older brother role. I didn't really know that story that things got. I know things got kind of weird at death row, but that you got pushed out.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
We were, at that time, Now that's years later, like 5 years later. But at that time, we had been repping Thug Life, which had its own power. Death Row had its own power. I thought when we combined forces, we all be allies riding together, but there was a lot of gang shit going on. This is Death Row's LA, a lot of gang shit going on. And, gang practices and how they get down, wasn't necessarily how we got down. And, guess shit didn't like me. Who knew? I ain't never had nothing against the brother.
Yeah.
So a lot of pressure started coming down on me in different ways. So I decided to gracefully bow out. My brother's grown now. He went from a young man to a man. He was growing. He became from a young man to a man. Now he's a grown man. And he was making his own decisions. And, we're big on freedom. Let him have his freedom. I try as much as possible to influence him in all the positive ways. You know what I mean? And he learned a lot of lessons. He soaked up a lot of game, but he was still him. He was not going to be him.
Yeah. About that time, though, he opens up an office out of your aunt's apartment, his aunt's apartment, your aunt's apartment. And so you would go by there, and Fanny would be there, and just different family. It was more of a family thing.
Well, not so much Fanny, but Yasmin.
But she'd at least be at his apartment, and you go to his apartment sometimes. So you were around the family, whether it was Yaz or Fanny.
Yeah, I would go to the house.
Yeah.
Once I stepped away, I would go to his house. He would be at the he was in Calabasas. I was like, I still loved him. He knew I still loved him. I was mad at him. With the whole Death Row shit, I felt like he could have made that go a different way. But I realized he was under pressure himself.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to make it no harder for him.
Yeah. And was that the consensus with the rest of the family too? It was just sort of like, hey, this isn't.
Well, everybody wasn't privy to the same information and experiences.
Yeah.
I was a frontline soldier, so I was around for the good and bad, and and all the ways. And I guess my presence wasn't desired or required anymore. Like, okay,
Right.
Because we had a positive. At first, we had a positive outlook with Death Row because Pac was always wanted to support black business. And Pac had done good business with Suge in the past on the Above the Rim movie.
Right, on the soundtrack, yeah.
Paid him stupid for it. So they had a good relationship. It's not, Suge is who he is.
Yeah.
But they had a good relationship. Pac was, they was trying to get, Death Row was trying to get Pac in the keep your head up days.
Yeah.
And he had asked me what I thought. I'm like, yo, why you want to be on somebody else's ship where they the captain? Here, right now, you the captain of your own ship.
Right.
You should do this, until he couldn't do it no more. And he needed some help, and that's what that happened.
Yeah. Well, after Pac passed, what I know after Pac passed, Suge kind of went through he had his own thing going on. He had a bunch of legal issues right after that happened. Was there communication between the family and Suge in the way you might imagine, or people might have imagined there being?
My sister asked him directly, and he said he didn't have nothing to do with what happened to Pac.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I believe it because my brother gave him power. His relationship with my brother gave him power.
Yeah.
So I don't see why he would destroy his power source. That's why an investigation's going on. We gonna see whoever the fuck it was. Pardon my French. But yeah, that's about as much as it went though, because he was dealing with his own shit as well.
Yeah. Did the family have a bad feeling towards Suge at that point, or was it Like I guess I'm just trying to understand like what.
I mean, we were all confused.
Yeah.
Death Row was a top dog, and they were strong, and they had a big security company securing them, and they had gangbangers on the label, and you know they should have been safe.
Yeah.
But you know, things started happening to where you know, these random things would happen, these random fights would happen which caused them to be attacked. You know, but you know, I feel it was orchestrated. I feel it was orchestrated.
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but we gonna see.
Yeah. Do you feel confident we'll get some answers?
We gonna get more than we got now.
Yeah.
We gonna get more than we got now.
Yeah.
You know, but what pisses me off is that, you know, shit is blatant. They writing, but yeah, I killed him. Yeah, you gave me the gun. Okay, all y'all tough guys. Okay, we gonna see. You know what I mean? It's really, you know, I mean, Pac does hold some responsibility for the way he went about it, but you know, he wasn't wrong. It was just a perfect storm.
Yeah.
It was a perfect storm. The stuff that was going on the East Coast with Biggie and Puffy, and Suge had his own issues with Dude. It was just, you know, enemy of my enemy is my friend. You know what I mean? That's kind of what was happening, and the storm was so perfect. It was hard for it not to take off like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Fog of war situation.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight, it might be clear what, you know, but.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of the guys that were like, Pac was like Stretch and, you know, like you knew those guys.
Yeah. I knew Biggie, I knew Stretch.
Going back now to the quad shooting, you knew so when Pac was adamant that those guys were involved, Haitian Jack, Stretch, Big, Puff, like, were you kind of like taken aback by that? Seeing as you knew those people?
Yes. I just didn't know to what degree the relationships had deteriorated.
Yeah.
Because as of that day, Pac was cool with all them.
Yeah.
Pac was cool. Until that day, Pac was cool with all them. Pac was thinking about possibly signing. See, these are the things that people don't know. Pac was thinking about possibly signing Big.
To
Out the gutter. People forget that Pac had a label deal. He was finally in a position where he could sign artists. Right. He was putting us to our first Thug Life.
Thug Life Volume 1 is on Out the Gutter, right?
Correct. Yeah. Correct. So he was in a position, and Pac, we did songs together. Pac and the Outlawz did a song with Big, and you know, it was a real relationship there.
You even said Running was supposed to be
Running from the police.
That comes out of the Thug Life concept.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was all about Thug Life at that time. Yeah. And that's one of the projects that Pac worked on the longest, was the Thug Life project. About 2.5 years we worked on that. Straight out of, actually, while we were still working on Strictly for My Niggas, that's when the Thug Life material started being created. It's a hell of a ride, man. It's been a hell of a ride. But yeah, so, you know, when things turn from sugar to shit, there's usually a reason, you know. Yeah. And with our success, with the music success, and Pac was having film success, that movie star shit just kept getting bigger.
Yeah.
You know, comes a lot of jealousy and envy. And that's another thing you got to deal with that is hard to explain.
Yeah.
You know? Why you got beef with that nigga? I don't know why I got beef with that nigga. He just don't like me. You know what I mean? Sometimes, and then that turns into something, you know?
So you were seeing that around, like people around being...
Yeah, and Pac was, he was unapologetic.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, nigga, I'm the best. I'm the best, and y'all should support me because I'm a ride for y'all. I'm a ride for the people. And he's like, y'all should know me by now.
Yeah.
Y'all should know me by now. I'm a ride for the people.
Yeah.
And that resonated. People felt that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's amazing too how you guys stayed in touch with Mutulu the whole time. I mean, this is one of the funniest. Just try to end on a lighter note, man. One of the funniest anecdotes in the book is when it comes from your dad when you and Pac are on the phone with Mutulu and you're telling him about how Pac's kind of hanging out with Madonna.
Yeah,
your dad's like.
Now my pops has his reputations with his ladies of all types. So he was trying to drop the game on us. Because he still want to be considered a player. Now look here, y'all. Don't have sex with her. Sex of mine. Get into her mind. Find out where she coming from. And me and Pac was like, yo, we started busting out laughing. I'm like, dude, all right, Mutulu. Okay. All right, sure thing. Too late.
Sex of mine. Yeah,
Pac was like, too late. Yeah, man. Yeah, come on, it's Madonna.
Hey, there might have actually in hindsight been some game in that though. There might have been some game in that though in hindsight.
Yeah, but it was too late. It was too late. It was actually too late.
Sex of mine first.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked all the time because it was like that's the closest the family could be to reuniting.
Yeah.
We could finally talk. I mean, it was through the prison phone with all the feds listening, but at least we could hear his voice, share a laugh, soak up a little game, and if you had a chance, go visit.
Yeah.
That's why we really Mutulu wanted to see us and we wanted to see him. So he made sure when he started doing the events in prison for the prisoners, he made sure that we were included. We had become big enough now where, it was actually a nice, an event to have Pac come and perform.
Yeah.
And this was, Pac wanted it to be specifically Thug Life to come perform. And we performed at Lompoc Prison, Thug Life crew, YMV, Big Psych, Big Surge. That was like the last time me, Pac, and my father were together, was in that prison.
Wow.
And and we took a bunch of pictures with all the crews. I mean, there was it was almost didn't go down because it was almost a riot. So, but Mutulu able to piece it out. We had to take pictures with all the crews, DC crew, DC Mob, Island Boys, VI Boys, the Bloods, the Cribs, all the black gangs, BGF. We took like so many pictures that day. I wonder if anybody got any, but yeah. Wow. We were able to find a few from the Lompoc performers that are in the book. And people, please buy the book. This Thug's Life. We got 24 photos in there, some never before seen photos. Big Mutulu up in there, Fanny. We tried very hard to get the pictures right. I think I messed up my mama's picture with my grandmama's picture, but I don't know how that happened, but I hope she's still on me.
Next edition, you can correct that. I'll get fixed next time. Have you had a chance to has Seth read the book or anything like that and talk to family? Anyone upset? People happy?
There's so much anxiety with that shit, especially this type of book.
I know.
It's a memoir.
I bet, yeah.
So first I had to, we from the keep it real generation. I had to keep it real as possible.
Yeah.
And I try to be as genuine as possible, but cold hard truth sometimes comes over cold, Yeah. But they know I ain't lying. Yeah. There ain't no lies in there.
It's a beautiful testament to your family, man. There's a lot in here.
Thank you, man. We try hard.
It's a great read. Unlike a lot of people, you haven't spent the last 30 years running around telling every story under the sun, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's great to finally be able to get this story from your vantage point, you know what I mean? Someone that's close to him as his brother.
And I feel it's too important not to make sure that it's, you know, down for the record.
Yeah.
Because it involves my father, it involves my family. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And it's all through the lens of the politics y'all grew up with. You know what I mean? And it's all through the lens of a love of blackness. You know, that's why I love it's unapologetically black stories.
Yes, sir.
The subtitle of the book.
Yes, sir.
It really is. It is.
Yes, sir.
And it's through the lens, and you even talk about the music through that lens. And that's an important part that a lot of people miss, I think, when discussing even Pac's music or your music or, you know, Thug Life and any of it.
And yeah, I can't wait to do a series, a show, because we also touched music.
Yeah.
Now, my Uncle Bilal, played with Gil Scott-Heron.
It's wild.
The Midnight Band. The revolution will not be televised. He was rocking with real revolutionaries, you know what I mean? And then my father would promote shows to raise money for the movement in other countries. He raised money to buy ambulances in Africa.
Yeah.
Roberta Flack, Eddie Palmieri, I mean, major acts of the day.
Wow. He
would promote. So that's why I can't wait to do a series. We could have the musical element. We could have all that in there. But yeah, Baba Bilal played the flute. And so, you know, we were tapped into music.
Yeah.
You know. But then it became our era. The hip hop era took over. Yeah. And, you know, we were doing our thing now.
Well, and you guys left your mark, man. You guys left your mark, man.
God is good. I'm thankful, grateful for, you know, the successes we've had. It ain't been easy, but I'm thankful that their struggles wasn't for nothing. They got to see something good come out besides all the brothers getting locked up, getting killed. You know, they got to see, you know, our side have a little success.
Yeah.
You know, we took the family to General Market.
Yeah, yeah. Mopreme, man, thank you for writing the book, and thanks for taking the time to talk to me about it.
Man, thank
incredible.
you.
It's a real honor. Real honor.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you.
Come on. Thanks for checking out Broken Record on YouTube. If you want to listen to us on the go, be sure to subscribe to Broken Record wherever you listen to podcasts.